The science delusion is the belief that science already understands the nature of reality in principle, leaving only the details to be filled in. This is a very widespread belief in our society. It's the kind of belief system of people who say, I don't believe in God, I believe in science. It's a belief system which has now been spread to the entire world. But there's a conflict in the heart of science between science as a method of inquiry based on reason, evidence, hypothesis, and collective investigation, and science as a belief system or a worldview. And unfortunately, the worldview aspect of science has come to inhibit and constrict the free inquiry, which is the very lifeblood of the scientific endeavor. Since the late 19th century, science has been conducted under the aspect of a belief system or worldview, which is essentially that of materialism, philosophical materialism. And the sciences are now wholly owned subsidiaries of the materialist worldview.
Several decades ago, we found a problem so great that it was brushed under the carpet for many a decade. And this is the fact that galaxies spin too fast. We believe in the work of Isaac Newton, at least on planetary scales, but when you apply Newton's laws of motion to the galaxy spins too fast. In fact, 10 times too fast. By rights, the galaxy should fly apart. Therefore, scientists said that we have to have dark matter, a halo of matter that surrounds the galaxy and holds the galaxy together.
And what have they discovered? Absolutely nothing. Zilch.
What is a little bit perturbing is that after 50 years we still haven't found what the dark matter is. But on the other hand, that doesn't mean they're not there, it just means they're harder to find than we thought.
We look out in the universe and 85% of all the gravity that's out there has some mysterious unknown source. We add up all the stars, the galaxies, the planets, the comets, the black holes, the dark clouds, everything out there that we can see, touch, smell, or taste. And it doesn't add up to give us the gravity that we see operating in this universe. So really we should be calling it the dark force, because we don't know if it's made of matter. It could be a profound misnomer, sending people off in thought directions that might not really be the right path. So dark matter is just simply what we call this thing about which we know nothing, responsible for 85% of the gravity of the cosmos. We've known about dark matter since the 1930s. Back then it was called missing mass. That's what it was called. Because, yeah, there's got to be some mass. Where is it? We can't find it. It's got to be here somewhere, because we got the gravity. If you have the gravity, you got to have the mass. Mass and gravity go together. It's really dark gravity. Actually, we shouldn't call it anything. We should call it Fred. Something that has no meaning, because we don't know what it is to call it. But it is the longest standing unsolved problem in modern astrophysics.
So the problem with cosmology is that we keep inventing theories, ad hoc theories, to try to explain the data, such as inflation, dark matter, dark energy, and so on, just to keep patching the theory up.
Usually in science, if we're off by a factor of 2 or a factor of 10, we call that horrible. We say something's wrong with the theory. We're off by a factor of 10. However, in cosmology, we're off by a factor of 10 to the 120. That is 1 with 120 zeros after it. This is the largest mismatch between theory and experiment in the history of science.
Physicists who make up the laws of nature are less constrained by them than most of us. And in the 1980s, the people who were studying galaxies found that the galaxies weren't behaving as they ought to. These stars in the galaxies were revolving around the center far too fast, according to the amount of matter there should be in the galaxy. And galaxies were attracting each other too strongly to be explained in terms of the total amount of matter within them. If you add up all the matter within them, stars, planets, gas clouds, make generous assumptions for invisible stars and so on, there's not enough matter to explain the gravitational pull of one galaxy on another, or of a galaxy on its outlying stars. So there was a terrible dilemma. What to do? Either the theories on which cosmology were based, Newtonian or Einsteinian relativity and gravitation, were wrong, Or there was some organizing principle in galaxies over and above gravity that scientists had missed out. Or there must be a lot more mass that we couldn't see within the galaxies that could explain the missing gravitational effect. Well, the least disruptive assumption for scientists was that there was a lot more matter that we couldn't see, and because we can't see it, it was called dark matter. So they postulated that there was dark matter in the galaxies that would explain these phenomena. The distribution of dark matter could be adjusted for each galaxy to explain its shape and its behavior. How much dark matter did each one have? Well, the answer is simple. You just titrate in as much dark matter as you need to make the equations balance and explain the form of the galaxy. And that's the prevailing view. There are still minorities in science who think that there have to be other ways of thinking of galaxies or modifying gravitational theory, but the great majority take the view that dark matter is real. However, the problem with that is that there's not a shred of evidence for its existence, despite billions of dollars being spent on dark matter detectors, underground pits full of fluids and so on. Not a shred of evidence has emerged that it actually exists. The only evidence for it is that it makes the equations balance and enables the conventional theories of physics to survive any test, because you can add in more dark matter or subtract it as required to explain what you want to explain. It's basically an untestable theory. They've tried to test it, the tests have failed, but nobody's given up the theory because it fits the theories that they want to believe in. Now, this led to a serious problem, because having magnified the amount of energy in the universe by about 5-fold through dark matter, there's far more of it than regular matter, that meant the whole universe had far more gravitation than people had previously thought. And that would mean that the expansion of the universe following the Big Bang, the expansion that's still going on, should be slowing down owing to all this extra matter within the universe. And in the 1990s, people thought that the universe would stop expanding, it would finally reach an ultimate limit, and then be pulled back together by all this matter in the universe gravitationally, until the whole thing ended in the opposite of the Big Bang, known in the trade as the Big Crunch. And the whole thing would end in tears. Well, that was the general view in the 1990s. But about 1999, observations of distant galaxies revealed that far from slowing down in their recession from us, they were speeding up. The universe was expanding faster and faster all the time, the exact opposite of the prediction of the dark matter theory. So what to do? Well, again, you can't modify the fundamental assumptions because they're fixed. So, they did modify it in the sense that they said, well, there must be an extra form of energy pushing the universe apart, and we'll call that dark energy. And it's dark energy because it's undetectable by anything other than its effects, namely pushing the universe apart faster and faster. The problem is, this has now led to a tremendous problem for the principle of conservation of matter and energy, because the main theory of dark energy is that the density of dark energy is uniform throughout the universe and remains uniform. But since the universe is getting bigger, that means there must be more of it. So the universe is now a perpetual motion machine. It's actually creating energy as it expands. So, is the law of conservation of matter and energy valid? Physicists have made up matter and energy in the last 20 or 30 years till they made up matter and energy. Dark matter and energy is now 95% of reality. Can it be converted into regular matter? Could some matter suddenly appear in this room as a result of being transformed from dark matter or dark energy? Well, nobody knows, because no one knows anything about dark matter and dark energy.
Is that called scientism, when you believe so much in the science you've been taught that you refuse to believe something else and it becomes your religion in a way?
Yes, scientism is where people turn science into a kind of religion. It becomes a kind of dogmatic belief system. The irony is that a lot of people think that religion's dogmatic and science is free thinking, but actually, in my experience, some of the most dogmatic people I know are people who've made science into a kind of religion. As my friend Terence McKenna used to say, modern science is based on the principle, give us one free miracle and we'll explain the rest. And the one free miracle is the appearance of all the matter and energy in the universe and all the laws that govern it from nothing in a single instant.